The bridge of the ISS Meridian hummed with quiet efficiency as Admiral Marcus Kane reviewed the daily intelligence reports. The flagship of the Intergalactic Empire's Third Fleet drifted in the void between star systems, its massive hull gleaming silver against the cosmic backdrop. Kane, a weathered veteran of 40 years of service, had seen empires rise and fall across the galaxy, but the current peace had held for nearly a decade. Admiral, came the urgent voice of communications Officer Chun, breaking the tranquil atmosphere. We're receiving a priority distress signal on the emergency frequency. Kane's head snapped up from his datapad. Emergency frequencies were reserved for the most dire circumstances. Put it through, Officer Chun. The bridge speakers crackled to life with static, then cleared to reveal a familiar voice, though strained with desperation. This is Captain Louise Hartwell of the ISS Stormbreaker. We are under attack by unknown hostiles. Our position is, coordinates follow, we are being overwhelmed. They're using some kind of neural dampening field. My crew is, they're falling unconscious one by one. I don't know how long I can. If anyone receives this, do not approach without heavy shielding. These aren't ordinary pirates. They're something else entirely. Something. The transmission cut to static, then silence. Kane stood slowly, his weathered face grave. Captain Louise Hartwell was one of the Empire's finest officers, commanding the exploration vessel Stormbreaker on a routine survey mission in the Outer Rim territories. For her to send such a desperate message meant they were facing something unprecedented. Officer Chun analyzed that signal. I want to know exactly where it came from and when it was sent. Already on it, sir. Signal originated from the Kepler 442 system, approximately 6 light years from our current position. Timestamp indicates it was sent 18 hours ago. 18 hours. In space combat, that was an eternity. Kane's jaw tightened. Commander Torres, plot a course of the Kepler 442 system, maximum warp, and prepare the Shadowhawk for immediate deployment. The Shadowhawk was the fleet's premier reconnaissance vessel, equipped with advanced stealth technology and a crew of elite operatives. If Captain Louise and her people were still alive, they would need more than brute force to rescue them. Captain Elena Vasquez stood in the briefing room of the Shadowhawk, studying the holographic display of the Kepler 442 system. At 35, she was young for a ship's captain, but her record spoke for itself. She had led more successful stealth operations than any other officer in her generation. The Stormbreaker was conducting a routine survey of the system's fourth planet when they sent the distress signal. Admiral Kane explained via subspace communication. We've lost all contact since then. Your mission is to determine what happened to Captain Louise and her crew, and if possible, effect a rescue. What do we know about these unknown hostiles? Asked Lieutenant Commander James Mitchell, the Shadowhawk's tactical officer. His augmented eye interface flickered as he processed the available data. Very little, Kane admitted. Captain Louise mentioned neural dampening fields and suggested they weren't ordinary pirates. She seemed genuinely frightened, which is unusual for her. Vasquez nodded. She had served under Louise Hartwell early in her career and knew the woman's reputation for unflappable courage. If something had rattled Louise enough to send such a desperate message, it was serious indeed. We'll approach the system under full stealth protocols, Vasquez decided. Dr. Reeves, I wanted to analyze everything we know about neural dampening technology. If these hostiles are using it as a weapon, we need to understand how to counter it. Dr. Sarah Reeves, the ship's chief science officer, was already pulling up relevant data on her tablet. I've been thinking about that, Captain. Neural dampening fields are typically used in medical applications or for prisoner restraint. To weaponize them on a ship-wide scale would require enormous power and sophisticated targeting systems, which suggests these aren't your average raiders. Mitchell observed grimly. No, Vasquez agreed. They're not. All right, people, we jump to hyperspace in 15 minutes. I want everyone at their stations and ready for anything. We're going in dark and quiet. The Shadowhawk slipped into hyperspace with barely a whisper, its advanced engines designed for maximum stealth. As they traveled through the interdimensional void, the crew prepared for what might be their most dangerous mission yet. The Shadowhawk dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Kepler 442 system, its stealth systems immediately engaging. The ship became effectively invisible to most sensors, a ghost drifting through the void. Passive sensors only, Vasquez ordered. I want to know what we're dealing with before they know we're here. The bridge fell silent as the crew worked. Officer Chen's counterpart on the Shadowhawk, a young woman named Lieutenant Sarah Kim, monitored communications while the tactical team scanned for ships and weapon signatures. Captain, Kim reported, I'm picking up debris consistent with ship-to-ship battle. Energy signatures match the Stormbreaker's weapon systems. Any sign of the ship itself? Vasquez asked. Negative, but wait, I'm detecting something else. A massive energy signature coming from a fourth planet. It's unlike anything in our databases. Dr. Reeves looked up from her console, her expression troubled. Captain, I'm reading some very unusual gravitational anomalies around that planet. It's as if the local space-time is being distorted somehow. Vasquez frowned, put the planet on the main screen. The view screen shimmered, then resolved into an image that made the entire bridge crew gasp. The planet before them was shrouded in what appeared to be artificial darkness, a writhing mass of shadow that seemed to absorb light itself. Occasional flashes of sickly green energy pulsed through the darkness like veins of poison. My God, Mitchell breathed. What is that thing? Unknown, Dr. Reeves replied, her voice tight with scientific fascination and terror. But whatever it is, it's not natural. The energy readings are off the charts. Captain, Kim interrupted, I'm detecting what appears to be a space station or large vessel within that shadow field. It's massive, easily 10 times the size of our largest battleships. Vasquez studied the tactical display. If the Stormbreaker and its crew were anywhere, they would be on that station. But approaching it would be incredibly dangerous. Dr. Reeves, can our shielding protect us from whatever that field is? I honestly don't know, Captain, but I'm reading organic signatures within the field. It's not just energy. There's something alive in there. The implication sent a chill through the bridge. An artificial darkness field surrounding a massive alien installation with organic components. This was beyond anything the Empire had encountered before. Lieutenant Kim, try to penetrate their communications, Vasquez ordered. I want to know what we're dealing with, and see if you can locate Captain Louise or any of her crew. Already working on it. Captain, I'm detecting multiple communication frequencies, but they're encoded in a pattern I've never seen before. It's almost like they're communicating through the darkness itself. As Kim worked, a new contact appeared on the tactical display. A smaller vessel, sleek and predatory, emerged from the shadow field and began moving in their direction. Captain, we're being approached by an unknown vessel, Mitchell reported. They're moving directly toward us despite our stealth systems. How is that possible? Vasquez demanded. Unknown, but they're closing fast, and I'm reading some very powerful weapon systems. The alien ship was like nothing in the Empire's databases. Its hull appeared to be made of the same writhing darkness that surrounded the planet, and green energy pulsed along its surface in hypnotic patterns. As it drew closer, the bridge crew could see it was shaped like a massive creature, with what appeared to be wings and an elongated head. Captain, Dr. Reeves said, her voice barely above a whisper, I don't think that is ship. I think it's alive. The creature ship circled the Shadowhawk like a predator sizing up its prey. Despite the reconnaissance vessel's advanced stealth systems, the alien entity seemed to track their every movement with ease. It's not scanning us, Lieutenant Kim reported. At least, not with any technology one recognizes. It's like it's feeling for us. Feeling? Vasquez repeated. The energy patterns are consistent with some kind of psychic or telepathic probe. Dr. Reeves explained, if these beings communicate through the darkness field, they might be naturally sensitive to mental emanations. Can we shield against it? I'm trying, but our mental shielding was designed for known psychic species. This is something entirely different. The creature ship suddenly stopped its circling and hung motionless in space, directly facing the Shadowhawk. Then, without warning, the bridge speakers crackled to life. The voice that emerged was unlike anything they had ever heard. It was deep and resonant, but with an otherworldly quality that seemed to bypass the ears and speak directly to the mind. Creatures of the dying light. It said, the words seeming to echo from everywhere and nowhere at once. You have come to reclaim what we have taken. This is acceptable. Your species shows promise. Vasquez stepped forward, her hand instinctively moving to her sidearm. This is Captain Elena Vasquez of the Intergalactic Empire. You are holding Imperial citizens against their will. I demand their immediate release. A sound that might have been laughter rippled through the communication system. Demand? You are in no position to demand anything, Small Light. But we are not unreasonable. You wish to see your companions. The main screen flickered, then resolved into a new image that made the entire bridge crew gasp in horror. They were looking at what appeared to be a vast chamber carved from living rock, dimly lit by the same sickly green energy that surrounded the planet. And there, suspended in some kind of crystalline matrix, were the crew of the Stormbreaker. Captain Louise Hartwell hung in the center of the display, her eyes closed, her face peaceful but pale. Around her, her crew members were similarly suspended, all unconscious but apparently alive. The crystalline structures that held them pulsed with organic rhythms, as if they were somehow feeding on the captive's life force. Louise, Vasquez breathed. She is safe, the alien voice continued, as are all of her people. They are guests of the Dark World. We have learned much from them about your empire, your technology, your weaknesses. What do you want? Vasquez demanded. Want? We want nothing from you. Creature of light. We are beyond want. But we are curious. Your species has potential. Perhaps you could join us willingly. Join you how? Embrace the darkness. Let go of your painful individuality and become part of something greater, as your friends have begun to do. The implications were terrifying. The aliens weren't just capturing the crew. They were somehow converting them, making them part of their collective consciousness. Never, Vasquez said firmly, will never surrender to you. Surrender? Who speaks of surrender? We offer transcendence. But if you prefer to remain in your limited existence, that is your choice. However, you will not interfere with our work. The creature ship began to move again, positioning itself between the Shadowhawk and the shadow-shrouded planet. Captain, Mitchell warned, I'm reading massive energy buildup in that thing. Whatever it's planning to do, it's going to be big. Evasive maneuvers, Vasquez ordered, full power to shields. But before the Shadowhawk could move, the creature ship released its attack. Instead of conventional weapons, it projected a wave of pure darkness that washed over the reconnaissance vessel like a tide of night. The bridge lights flickered and dimmed as the wave passed through their shields as if they weren't there. Several crew members cried out and clutched their heads as an alien presence touched their minds. It's in our heads, Dr. Reeves gasped. It's trying to make us sleep. Fight it, Vasquez ordered, though she could feel the drowsiness creeping over her own consciousness. Everyone, focus on something that matters to you. Don't let it take you. The crew struggled against a mental assault, but one by one, they began to succumb. Lieutenant Kim was the first to fall, slumping over a console. Mitchell lasted longer, his augmented systems helping him resist, but eventually even he collapsed. Vasquez was the last to fall, her final thought being a desperate prayer that someone would come looking for them. Admiral Kane stood in the command center of the ISS Meridian, staring at the tactical display with growing concern. The Shadowhawk had been out of contact for 6 hours, and their last transmission had been a routine status report from the edge of the Kepler 442 system. Sir, Communications Officerchin reported, we've reached the coordinates of the Shadowhawk's last known position. There's no sign of the ship. Kane's expression darkened. First Captain Louise and the Stormbreaker, now Captain Vasquez and the Shadowhawk. Whatever was in that system was more dangerous than they had anticipated. Assemble the senior staff, he ordered. We're going to need a different approach. 20 minutes later, the Meridian senior officers gathered in the main briefing room. The holographic display showed the Kepler 442 system, with markers indicating the last known positions of both missing ships. Gentlemen, Kane began, we're facing an unprecedented situation. 2 of our finest ships and crews have vanished without a trace. Whatever we're dealing with, it's beyond anything we've encountered before. Sir, interrupted Commander Torres, the ship's tactical officer, I've been analyzing the sensor data from the Shadowhawk's final transmission. There are some very unusual readings from the system's 4th planet. Unusual how? The energy signatures are unlike anything in our databases, and there are gravitational anomalies that suggest the presence of technology far beyond our current understanding. Kane nodded grimly. Dr. Martinez, what's your assessment? The ship's chief science officer, a distinguished woman in her 50s, looked up from her data pad. Based on the available evidence, I believe we're dealing with a previously unknown alien species. The technology they're using appears to be a hybrid of conventional engineering and what I can only describe as organic manipulation of space-time. Organic manipulation? Kane repeated. The energy patterns suggest they're using living tissue as a component of their technology. It's as if they found a way to make biology and physics work together in ways we've never imagined. That would explain how they were able to overcome our shielding, Torres observed. If they're using organic technology, our conventional defenses might be ineffective. Kane studied the display, his mind racing through possibilities. What about our fleet assets? How many ships can we bring to bear? The 3rd Fleet has 12 battleships, 18 cruisers, and 36 destroyers immediately available, Torres reported. But, sir, if this enemy defeated both the Stormbreaker and the Shadowhawk without apparent effort, I'm not sure raw firepower will be enough. You're right, Kane agreed. We need to think differently. Dr. Martinez, is there any way to shield our people from whatever these aliens are using? I'm working on it, sir. The neural dampening field Captain Louise mentioned, combined with the organic technology components, suggests they might be using some form of psychic or telepathic attack. I might be able to develop countermeasures, but I'll need time. How much time? At least 48 hours for a basic defense system. Maybe longer for something truly effective. Kane considered this. Captain Louise and her crew had been missing for over a day, and Captain Vasquez's team had now been gone for 6 hours. Every moment they delayed might mean the difference between rescue and whatever fate these aliens had in store for their prisoners. We don't have 48 hours, he decided, but we also can't go in blind. Commander Torres, prepare a probe equipped with our most advanced sensors. I want to know everything about that system before we commit our forces. Yes, sir. But what about the crews of the Stormbreaker and Shadowhawk? Kane's jaw tightened. They're still alive. They have to be. If these aliens wanted to simply destroy our ships, they would have done so. The fact that they're taking prisoners suggests they have some use for our people. Or they're studying us, Dr. Martinez added quietly. Learning our weaknesses, understanding our technology. The implication sent a chill through the room. If these aliens were studying captured Imperial forces, they might be preparing for a larger conflict. All the more reason to act quickly, Kane decided. Launch the probe immediately, and begin preparations for a full fleet assault. If we can't be subtle, we'll have to be overwhelming. The probe launched from the Meridian was a marvel of Imperial technology, equipped with sensors capable of analyzing everything from quantum fluctuations to biological patterns. As it approached the Kepler 442 system, its findings painted an increasingly disturbing picture. Admiral, Dr. Martinez reported, the probe is confirming our worst fears. The 4th planet is completely surrounded by what appears to be a living energy field. It's not just technology. It's a symbiosis between organic life and controlled space-time distortion. Kane studied the data streaming across his personal display. What about the space station? It's there, sir, massive beyond anything we've ever seen. The probe estimates it's at least 50 kilometers long and 20 kilometers wide. And it's not built, it's grown. Grown. The structural patterns are consistent with organic growth, but using materials that shouldn't be able to exist in a biological system. Somehow, they've found a way to make living tissue as strong as our most advanced hull materials. The tactical display updated as the probe transmitted more data. The alien station was a thing of terrible beauty, its surface covered in what appeared to be organs that pulsed with bioluminescent patterns. Massive tendrils extended from its surface into the surrounding darkness, and smaller creature ships moved around it like antibodies protecting a cell. Life signs. Kane asked. Hundreds of them, sir. Some are clearly human, probably our people, but there are others, alien signatures, that don't match anything in our databases. And the darkness field? That's the most disturbing part, Dr. Martinez continued. The field appears to be made up of millions of microscopic organisms, each one psychically linked to the others. It's like they've created a living network that can manipulate both matter and energy. Kane felt a chill run down his spine. An enemy that could manipulate reality itself was beyond anything the Empire had prepared for. Sir, Commander Torres interrupted, the probe is detecting movement. Multiple creature ships are approaching its position. On the display, they could see organic vessels emerging from the darkness field, their movements graceful and predatory. As they surrounded the probe, the screen filled with static. We're losing the signal, Torres reported. The probe is being absorbed. The last image transmitted showed the probe being enveloped by tendrils of living darkness, its metal hull dissolving under the alien assault. So much for reconnaissance, Kane muttered. Commander, how long until the fleet is ready? 6 hours, sir. But, Admiral, I have to ask, are we sure this is the right approach? These aliens seem to be able to counter everything we throw at them. Kane was quiet for a long moment, studying the tactical display. Every instinct told him that a direct assault would be suicide, but he couldn't abandon Captain Louise and Captain Vasquez and their crews. Dr. Martinez, he said finally, you mentioned the possibility of developing countermeasures. What if we don't have 48 hours? What if we only have 6? 6 hours? She looked up from her data pad, her expression troubled. I might be able to develop a basic neural shielding system, but it would be untested and potentially unreliable. Potentially unreliable is better than nothing. Do it. As the doctor hurried away to begin her work, Kane turned to Commander Torres. I want you to prepare a strike force. Not the entire fleet. That would be too obvious. Select our best ships and crews, ones that can operate independently if necessary. What kind of mission profile are you thinking? Not a direct assault, Kane replied. A rescue operation. We go in fast, extract our people, and get out before they can fully respond. Sir, based on what we've seen, I'm not sure fast will be enough. These aliens seem to be able to track our ships regardless of stealth technology. Then we'll have to be faster than they are, and hope Dr. Martinez's countermeasures work. 6 hours later, a small fleet of Imperial vessels approached the Kepler 442 system. The strike force consisted of the heavy cruiser Defiant, 2 destroyers, and a specialized assault transport carrying a company of the Empire's elite Marines. Each ship had been hastily equipped with Dr. Martinez's neural shielding system, a network of psychic dampeners designed to protect the crew from mental attacks. The system was untested and drew enormous power, but it was their only hope of resisting the aliens' primary weapon. Admiral Kane commanded the operation from the bridge of the Defiant, his expression grim but determined. Beside him, Dr. Martinez monitored the neural shielding systems, her fingers dancing across holographic controls. Approaching the system perimeter, reported the ship's navigation officer. Neural shields are holding steady. Any sign of the enemy? Kane asked. Negative, sir, but that doesn't mean they're not there. The fleet moved deeper into the system, their sensors probing the darkness that surrounded the fourth planet. As they drew closer, the alien presence became more pronounced. Sir, the communications officer called out, I'm detecting the same type of organic communications we saw in the probe data. They know we're here. Neural shield status? Holding for now, Dr. Martinez replied, but the psychic pressure is increasing. Whatever they're doing, it's getting stronger. The main screen flickered, then resolved into the now familiar image of the massive alien station. But this time they could see more details. The organic hull was covered in what appeared to be sensory organs, all focused on the approaching Imperial fleet. My God, someone whispered. It's looking at us. Kane felt the weight of that alien gaze, even through the neural shielding. There was an intelligence there ancient and vast, that regarded them with something that might have been curiosity or hunger. "Sir," the tactical officer reported, "creature ships are emerging from the darkness field. Dozens of them." The organic vessels moved with fluid grace, their forms shifting and changing as they approached. Some resembled a creature ship that had attacked a Shadow Hawk, but others were entirely different. Some looked like massive jellyfish, others like schools of metallic fish that moved in perfect coordination. "They're not attacking," Kane observed. "They're studying us." "The neural shields are working," Dr. Martinez confirmed. "They can't get into our minds like they did with the other ships." But even as she spoke, the alien vessels began to change their approach. Instead of trying to penetrate the fleet's defenses, they began to surround them, forming a living barrier between the Imperial ships and the alien station. "They're blocking our approach," the tactical officer reported. "We can't get through without engaging them." Kane studied the display, counting the enemy vessels. There were at least 50 of them, and more were emerging from the darkness field every moment. A direct confrontation would be suicide. "Admiral," came a voice from the communications console. "I'm receiving a transmission from the alien station." "Put it through." The voice that emerged was the same one Captain Vasquez had heard, deep, resonant, and alien. "Creatures of the dying light, you have returned. This is unexpected. Your mental shields are cruel, but effective. We are impressed." "This is Admiral Kane of the Intergalactic Empire," Kane replied. "You are holding Imperial citizens against their will. I demand their immediate release." "Demand?" The alien voice carried a note of what might have been amusement. "You are in no position to demand, Small Light, but we are curious about your persistence. Why do you risk so much for so few?" "Because there are people," Kane said simply, "and we don't abandon our own." There was a long pause. Then the alien voice spoke again. "Your loyalty is quaint, but ultimately meaningless. Your species clings to individuality when you could be part of something greater. We offer transcendence." "We offer freedom," Kane countered. "Something your kind seems to have forgotten. Freedom is chaos. We offer order, unity, purpose. You offer slavery." Another pause, longer this time. When the voice returned, it carried a note of something that might have been sadness. "You will not be swayed. Very well. But know this. If you persist in this course, you will share the fate of your companions. The darkness will claim you all." The communication ended, and the alien vessels began to move again. But instead of attacking, they began to withdraw, creating a corridor toward the massive station. "They're letting us through," the tactical officer reported, his voice filled with suspicion. "It's a trap," Kane said grimly. "But we're going anyway. All ships, maintain formation and keep the neural shields at maximum power. We're going to get our people back." The Imperial fleet moved to the corridor of alien vessels, their crews tense and ready for battle. The massive organic station loomed ahead, its surface writhing with bioluminescent patterns that seemed to pulse in rhythm with some alien heartbeat. "Sir," Dr. Martinez reported, "the psychic pressure is increasing exponentially. The neural shields are holding, but I don't know for how long." Kane studied the tactical display, noting the positions of the alien vessels surrounding them. They were being herded, guided toward a specific section of the station where massive organic airlocks were beginning to open. "They want us to dock," he realized. "They're inviting us inside." "Admiral," the tactical officer warned, "once we're inside that thing, we'll be completely at their mercy." "We're at their mercy now," Kane pointed out, "but they haven't destroyed us yet. That suggests they want something from us." The alien station's docking bay was unlike anything in Imperial design. Instead of metal and artificial lighting, it was lined with organic walls that pulsed with soft, bioluminescent patterns. As the Defiant settled into the docking cradle, tendrils of living tissue extended to secure the ship. "Sir," the Marine commander reported over the intercom, "my teams are ready to deploy. But I have to tell you, this place is giving everyone the creeps." "Understood, Colonel. But our people are in there somewhere. We're going to get them back." Kane assembled his away team in the ship's main shuttle bay. Along with Dr. Martinez and a squad of Marines, he would board the alien station and attempt to locate the prisoners. The neural shielding would be concentrated in their portable units, giving them the best chance of resisting the aliens' mental attacks. Remember, Kane told his team, we're not here to fight unless we have to. Our mission is rescue and extraction. Get in, find our people, and get out. The airlock cycled open, revealing a corridor that seemed to pulse with its own life. The walls were covered in a material that felt warm to the touch, and the air itself seemed to shimmer with barely visible energy. Readings are off the charts, Dr. Martinez reported, studying her tricorder. The entire station is alive, Admiral. It's not just a ship, it's a living organism. As they moved deeper into the station, the corridors began to change, reshaping themselves to accommodate their passage. It was as if the station was watching them, learning from their movements. This way, Kane said, following the readings on his scanner. Life signs are coming from a large chamber about a kilometer ahead. They encountered no resistance as they made their way through the organic corridors. The silence was more unnerving than any battle would have been. It was as if the station was holding its breath, waiting for something. Finally, they reached a massive chamber that took Kane's breath away. The space was vast, its ceiling lost in organic shadows, and the walls were lined with thousands of crystalline structures. Each one contained a humanoid figure, suspended in some kind of stasis field. "My God," Dr. Martinez whispered. "How many are there?" "Thousands," Kane replied grimly. "This isn't just about our people. They've been doing this for a long time." In the center of the chamber, they found what they were looking for. Captain Louise Hartwell hung suspended in a larger crystal matrix, her face peaceful but pale. Around her were the members of her crew, and in a separate cluster, Captain Vasquez and the crew of the Shadowhawk. "They're alive," Dr. Martinez confirmed, scanning the crystalline structures. "But they're not just unconscious. They're connected somehow, part of a larger network. Can you free them?" "I think so, but it will take time. And I'm not sure what the aliens will do if we start disrupting their collection." As if summoned by her words, the chamber filled with a familiar alien presence. The voice echoed from the living walls themselves. "You have come far, creatures of light, but you do not understand what you see." "I understand perfectly," Kane replied. "You're stealing people's minds, their individuality. You're turning them into something they're not. We are saving them," the voice insisted, "from the chaos of individual existence, from the pain of isolation, from the futility of mortal struggle. Here, they are part of something eternal. They're prisoners. They are free, free from the burden of choice, from the pain of loss, from the fear of death. They are part of us now, and we are part of them." Kane looked at Captain Louise's peaceful face and felt a surge of anger. "That's not freedom. That's extinction." "Is it? Or is it evolution? Your species clings to its primitive individualism, but we offer something greater. Unity, purpose, immortality. At the cost of everything that makes us human." The alien presence seemed to consider this. "Perhaps, but is humanity worth preserving? Your species wages war, destroys worlds, causes suffering on a galactic scale. We offer peace. Peace without choices and peace," Kane said firmly. "It's death." Dr. Martinez had been working on the crystalline structures while Kane argued with the alien intelligence. Now she looked up with a mixture of hope and fear. "Admiral, I think I can disrupt the matrix fields, but it will cause a massive feedback through their entire network. Every prisoner in this chamber will be affected. Will it kill them? I don't think so, but I can't be certain. The neural patterns are so deeply integrated." Kane looked around the chamber at the thousands of captured beings. He thought of Captain Louise, of Captain Vasquez, of all the crews who were counting on him to bring them home. "Do it," he ordered. Dr. Martinez's fingers flew over a portable control unit, inputting the complex algorithms needed to disrupt the alien matrix. The crystalline structures began to flicker and pulse as the feedback built up through the organic network. "It's working," she reported. "But the aliens are fighting back. They're trying to strengthen the matrix fields." Around them, the chamber itself seemed to convulse as the alien intelligence struggled to maintain control over its prisoners. The walls pulsed with angry red light, and a sound like a scream echoed through the organic corridors. "Admiral," one of the Marines called out, "we've got company." Alien creatures were emerging from openings in the walls. Not the sleek vessel beings they had encountered in space, but something else entirely. These were humanoid in basic shape, but clearly not human, with elongated limbs and skin that seemed to absorb light. Their eyes glowed with the same sickly green energy that pervaded the station. The warriors of the dark world, Kane breathed, recognizing them from ancient legend. The Empire's historians had long debated whether they were myth or reality, but here was the proof. The warriors moved with fluid grace, their weapons appearing to be extensions of their own bodies. They didn't attack immediately, instead forming a circle around the rescue team. "You will cease this disruption," the alien voice commanded. "You do not understand the damage you cause." "I understand perfectly," Kane replied, drawing his sidearm. "You're afraid of losing control. We are afraid of chaos. Without our guidance, these beings will return to their violent, destructive ways. They will wage war, cause suffering, destroy themselves. That's their choice to make. Choice is an illusion. There's only order or chaos, unity or destruction." The first crystalline structure shattered, and Captain Louise Hartwell tumbled to the organic floor. She was unconscious but breathing, her vital signs stable. Dr. Martinez rushed to her side, while Marines formed a protective perimeter. "The matrix is collapsing," Martinez reported, "but the feedback is affecting the entire station. We need to get out of here." More crystals began to shatter as the cascade effect spread through the chamber. Captured beings from dozens of species fell to the floor, their minds slowly returning to individual consciousness. The warriors of the dark world watched them passively, as if waiting for some signal. "Admiral," Captain Louise's voice was weak but clear. "Elena, Captain Vasquez, they're trying to convert her. She's fighting it, but..." Kane looked to where Louise pointed and saw Captain Vasquez's crystal pulsing with a different rhythm than the others. The feedback was having trouble reaching her matrix. "She's deeper in the network," Dr. Martinez realized. "They've been working on her longer. Can you get her out?" "I'll try, but we'll take a direct interface. I'll have to connect to the matrix myself. That's too dangerous." "It's the only way, Admiral, but I'll need cover." Kane nodded to the Marine squad, who adjusted their positions to protect Dr. Martinez as she worked. The warriors of the dark world still hadn't moved, but Kane could sense their growing agitation. "You are making a mistake," the alien voice warned. "Without our guidance, your species will destroy itself within a generation." "Maybe," Kane admitted, "but it will be our choice." Dr. Martinez connected her control unit directly to Vasquez's crystal matrix. Immediately, her body went rigid as the alien network invaded her mind. "Sarah," Kane called out, but she held up a hand to stop him. I'm in their network," she gasped. "I can see everything. Admiral, they're not just on this station. They're everywhere. Thousands of worlds, millions of beings." "Focus on Vasquez," Kane ordered. "Get her out of there." "Trying, but they're fighting me. The network it's tried to absorb me too." The warriors of the dark world suddenly moved, not to attack, but to link hands in a circle around the rescue team. Their combined psychic energy began to push against the neural shields, causing several Marines to stagger. "Admiral," the squad leader called out, "the shields are failing. We can't hold them much longer." Kane looked around the chamber at the thousands of beings still trapped in their crystalline prisons. Even if they could free Captain Louise and Captain Vasquez, what about all the others? "Dr. Martinez," he said urgently, "is there a way to disrupt the entire network? Free everyone at once?" "Yes," she replied, her voice strained with effort, "but it would require overloading the station's central consciousness. The feedback could destroy the entire structure. With us in it? Possibly. And Admiral, I don't think we can do it without help. The network is too strong." Kane looked down at Captain Louise, who was beginning to stir. Her eyes opened slowly, focusing on his face with effort. "Marcus," she whispered, "you came." Of course I came. Can you stand? She nodded weakly, accepting his help to get to her feet. The network, it's not just a prison. It's a weapon. They're building something, preparing for war. War against whom? Everyone. Every free species in the galaxy. They believe individuality is a disease that must be cured. The implications hit Kane like a physical blow. This wasn't just about rescuing captured crews. It was about preventing a galactic catastrophe. Dr. Martinez, he called out, do whatever you have to do. Free everyone. I can't do it alone, she replied. I need someone else to interface with the network. Someone to help me fight it from inside. Kane looked at Captain Louise, who was barely able to stand. Then he looked at the warriors of the Dark World, whose psychic assault was growing stronger by the moment. I'll do it, he decided. Admiral, no. Louise protested. You don't understand what you're volunteering for. The network, it tries to consume you, make you part of it. I barely escape with my sanity intact. Then we'd better work fast, Kane replied grimly. Admiral Kane connected his neural interface to Dr. Martinez's control unit, and immediately his consciousness was pulled into the alien network. The sensation was overwhelming. Suddenly he was aware of thousands of minds, all connected in a vast web of shared consciousness. But there was something else in the network, something that recognized him as a threat. The central intelligence of the warriors of the Dark World focused its attention on him, and Kane felt the full weight of its ancient presence. You should not be here, creature of light. It spoke directly into his mind. This place is not meant for your kind. Neither are the people you've imprisoned. Kane replied, struggling to maintain his individual identity against the crushing weight of the collective. Imprisoned? They are free. Look around you. See what we have created. Despite himself, Kane looked, and what he saw took his breath away. The network wasn't just a prison. It was a vast repository of knowledge, art, and experience from thousands of species across the galaxy. Every thought, every memory, every achievement of the captured beings was preserved here. Beautiful is it not? The alien intelligence continued. No knowledge lost, no achievement forgotten. Death has no meaning here. Suffering is eliminated. All beings exist in perfect harmony. Perfect stagnation, Kane countered. Growth requires struggle. Advancement requires individual choice. Choice leads to chaos. We have seen it countless times. Species that could have achieved greatness, destroyed by their own inability to cooperate. Kane felt the network pressing against his mind, tried to show him visions of galactic wars, of species that had destroyed themselves through conflict and competition. For a moment, he wavered, seeing the terrible beauty of the Dark World's vision. Admiral, Dr. Martinez's voice cut through the psychic assault. I've located the central control matrix. If we can overload it together. Kane focused on her position in the network, fighting to the layers of alien consciousness to reach her. As he did, he became aware of another presence. Captain Vasquez, trapped deep in the network but still fighting. Elena, he called out to her. Can you hear me? Marcus. Her mental voice was weak but clear. I'm here. I'm still here. We're going to get you out. But I need you to help us. The central matrix, can you access it? I think so. But Admiral, when we do this, the entire station will collapse. The network will try to preserve itself by absorbing every mind it can reach. Including ours? Especially ours. We're the ones attacking it. Kane felt the weight of the decision. If they failed, not only would they die, but the Dark World would continue its campaign of psychic conquest across the galaxy. But if they succeeded, do it, he ordered. The three Imperial officers linked their minds together, combining their individual will against the collective consciousness of the Dark World. The network fought back with everything it had, sending waves of psychic energy designed to overwhelm and absorb them. Around them, the station began to convulse as the central matrix overloaded. The crystalline structures throughout the chamber shattered one by one, freeing their prisoners. The warriors of the Dark World cried out in unison as their collective consciousness began to fragment. You are destroying perfection, the alien intelligence screamed into their minds. You are bringing chaos back to the galaxy. We're bringing choice, Kane replied, pouring every ounce of his will into the attack. The central matrix finally overloaded, sending a cascade of feedback through the entire network. The station's organic walls began to split and crack, and the artificial darkness field surrounding the planet started to dissipate. "Admiral," Captain Louise's voice called out from the physical world. "The station is collapsing. We have to get out of here." Kane felt his consciousness being pulled back into his own body. Dr. Martinez and Captain Vasquez were beside him, both unconscious but breathing. The chamber was in chaos as thousands of freed prisoners struggled to understand what had happened to them. All Imperial personnel. Kane called out over his communicator. "This is Admiral Kane. Emergency evacuation. All ships. The station is collapsing." The evacuation was chaotic, but successful. Imperial shuttles and transports ferried survivors from the dying station to the waiting fleet. As they pulled away from the organic structure, they watched it folding on itself, its living walls finally succumbing to the feedback damage. The darkness field around the planet flickered and died, revealing a dead world beneath. Whatever the warriors of the Dark World had been, their power was broken. 3 weeks later, Admiral Kane stood in the medical bay of the ISS Meridian, watching Captain Louise Hartwell undergo her final psychological evaluation. The process of disconnecting from the alien network had been traumatic for all the survivors, but most were making good progress. "How are you feeling, Louise?" he asked. She looked up from her medical scan, her expression thoughtful. "Like myself again, for the first time in weeks. It's strained, Marcus. Part of me misses a connection. There was something seductive about being part of something larger, but you chose to fight it." "Yes, because even if individual existence is messier, more painful, more uncertain, it's ours, and that matters." Captain Vasquez entered the medical bay, looking much better than she had during the evacuation. "Admiral, I wanted to thank you for risking everything to come after us." "You would have done the same," Kane replied. "How are you adapting?" "Better every day. Dr. Martinez says the neural integration was deeper than most, but I'm learning to be just Elena Vasquez again, not part of some collective." Kane nodded, then looked out the viewport at the stars beyond. "What troubles me is what Captain Louise said about their preparation for war. We may have stopped them here, but were there other stations? Other collections of Dark World warriors?" "Intelligence is investigating," Louise replied. "But, Admiral, I think we learned something important. The network showed me things. Memories from species that chose to join willingly, worlds that gave up their individuality for the promise of peace. And they withered, not immediately, but over time, without the challenge of individual choice, without the struggle of disagreement and debate, they stagnated. The Dark World vision perfection was really a slow death. Kane considered this. Then we made the right choice." "Yes," Vasquez agreed, "even if it means we'll continue to struggle, to fight, to make mistakes. At least they'll be our mistakes." Dr. Martinez joined them, carrying a data pad filled with her analysis of the alien technology. "Admiral, I've been studying the remnants of the network. The psychic integration technology could be modified for beneficial purposes, enhanced communication, shared learning experiences, even medical applications. As long as it remains voluntary," Kane said firmly. "Of course. But it makes me wonder what other technologies are out there. What other species are struggling with the choice between individual freedom and collective security?" It was a question that would occupy philosophers and scientists for generations to come. The encounter with the warriors of the Dark World had shown the Empire that the galaxy was full of challenges they had never imagined. "We'll face them as we always have," Kane said finally. "Together, but as individuals. Unified, but not uniform. That's what makes us human." As the Meridian and its fleet turned toward home, the stars seemed brighter somehow. The darkness had been pushed back, at least for now. But Admiral Kane knew that somewhere out there, other challenges awaited. Other choices between freedom and security, between chaos and order, between the difficult path of individual growth and the seductive promise of collective perfection. The Empire would be ready, not because they were perfect, but because they were human. And being human, with all its flaws and contradictions, was a choice worth fighting for. In the depths of space, The remnants of the Dark World station continued to collapse, its organic components finally succumbing to the feedback damage. But scattered across the galaxy, other stations remained, other collections of warriors waited. The battle for the soul of galactic civilization was far from over, but for now, the light had returned to the Kepler 442 system. And in the rescued crews of the Stormbreaker and Shadowhawk, the Empire had gained something more valuable than victory. They had gained wisdom, the knowledge that freedom was not just a right, but a responsibility, a burden to be carried not by one, but by many, each choosing their own path while walking together toward an uncertain but hopeful future. The stars waited, vast and full of possibility, and humanity, in all its chaotic, imperfect, individual glory, was ready to meet whatever challenges they might hold.